thank you. Now we'll invite you to the podium. Dr. Zhao.
Hello, it's a great pleasure to be. Oh yes, it's better.
Just give you better reception.
Test. Yes, good, perfect. Yeah, I will use this one.
Your event is right here.
Okay, good. And my PowerPoint.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, thank you, everyone. This is my first time visit SM, the Southern University. Actually, I've been looking for this visit for a long time. But we have very different schedule arrangements. Like, if we want to go to university, then we need to get help from our education section. And our education section is always busy with their own schedule. So I spent 2 years to get the chance to be here. Thank you. As you know, China is expanding its power and influence while its economy is rising rapidly. But in some extent, I would add that such kind of change of power of economy and political influential are mostly peaceful and aiming at the coexistence and win-win cooperation with other countries, especially with the neighboring countries. So One Belt, One Road is one example of China's foreign policy, especially the foreign policy in the new era. I want to give you some clear picture by my best, because One Belt, One Road had become a catchphrase within, especially the past 3 years. Many people label One Belt, One Road as China's geopolitical strategy. Sometimes the people, especially the neighboring countries, are saying the One Belt, One Road is for China's own interest, not a internationally win-win solution. So I want to clarify what One Belt, One Road is and what kind of aims and purpose behind the scene. I want to try 5 different perspectives. One is, where is the One Belt, One Road? And what are the main meaning of the initiative? It's not a strategy, it's an initiative. And third is that, what is the concrete measure or action China will do, or China is doing? The fourth is that, what's the challenge for China? Is China meeting some difficulty, or just very smoothful? And the last one is, what is the opportunity One Belt, One Road provide with the United States? Because the United States is not a country within the Asia, Europe, Eurasia, and even Africa, Latin America region. Through such kind of 5 perspectives, I want to give you a picture. First of all, many people know the word Silk Road. Yes, Silk Road is an old name. Actually, as early as 2,000 years ago, the people in China, both in China and the Middle East, began with trading. The businessmen from China and from Middle East carried the silk, the tea, the porcelain, and sometimes copperware on camelback to trade with each other. That's 2,000 years ago. So the Silk Road actually was a trade route on land. This trade route took shape 2,000 years ago, but the name Silk Road actually was not that old. That was in 1877. A German geographer whose name is Ferdinand von Richthofen, who coined the name Silk Road. Then later on, many Western people use the Silk Road to describe the old ancient trade route between China and Europe. why the Silk Road, the Asian Silk Road, declined before 1,300 years ago. That's because that in West China, a lot of wars and conflicts took place between China and the Western neighboring countries, or inside China, different minority fought each other. So the fights, the wars blocked the land route between China and Europe. So the businessmen used the alternative trade route, especially on the sea. So they changed their the route. I would say they used the port Guangzhou, Fuzhou, and Ningbo, passing through the South China Sea, Southeast Asian countries, Malacca Straits, to the Indian Ocean, and further on to African country, especially Kenya, and the Red Sea. The final designation was Greece and Italy. So we call it Maritime Silk Road. These two routes, we call it Land Silk Road and the Maritime Silk Road. In short words, we call it one belt. Actually, the Silk Road economic belt, and the one road, the 21st century Maritime Silk Road. So these two words describe the China's economic program with the neighboring countries, especially in Asia, Africa, some European countries. Geographically, the two initiatives exclude any country in America and Latin America. But what is interesting is that 2 years ago, the Chile president proposed China need to use its fund or financial means to build a cross-Pacific fiber optics. That's another kind of infrastructure program. And that will be very beneficial both to China, to Asian countries, and the Latin American developing countries. So nowadays, we always emphasize that one belt, one road covers Asia, Europe, Africa, but it's not limited to that regions. We welcome all countries, the private companies, organizations to join the program. And the theme is develop this region to achieve win-win solution. From this picture, I will tell you that how many participants are doing together. We always say there are two categories. One is countries, and the other is international or regional organizations. When we talk about the participating countries, we categorize them to three parts. North is Russia and Mongolia. South is India and Pakistan. Altogether, I think there are 11 countries. And Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Laos, to the end of Southeast Asian country like East Timor, Indonesia, many, many countries. That's the three parts. And then we move on to the west. We have the Middle Asian countries, 5. That's Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, this area. And Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, 5 Middle Asian countries. And further on, we go to Africa. Usually, when we talk about African countries in the One Belt, One Road initiative, we mostly focus on the east part and the north part, like Egypt, Kenya. We didn't touch too far to the south point of African continent. If we talk about European countries, we didn't cover all the Europe. We mostly are talking about the East European countries like Poland or Hungary or Czech, Slovakia, that area, because this region was closely connected to China's trade relations in ancient time. And this region is also the developing countries. So focused on developing countries is our priority when we carry on the One Belt One Road initiative. The reason China is so working hard on the initiative of One Belt One Road have different kind of how to say purpose. Many people are asking why you worked so hard on that purpose, or why you worked so hard on One Belt One Road. I would say, first of all, this year is a special year. China's National Congress will be held the end of this year or autumn. So it's a #1 political agenda in China's leaders' schedule. So the government and the leaders want to speed up the One Belt One Road initiative to get more concrete, specific win-win economic development. And before the National Party, we have a very important international summit. That's the Beijing Summit, One Belt One Road Beijing Summit. That will be held in Beijing, May 14 through 15. And we have already invited more than 60 countries to attend, and more than 30 countries, presidents or premiers confirmed to attend the summit. We are still in the process of preparation. And the objective of the Beijing Summit have three folds. One is review what kind of early harvests we have getting. Because in 2013, both Premier Li Keqiang and President Xi Jinping announced the initiative when they visited the relevant countries. Like Li Keqiang visited the southeast countries, and President Xi Jinping visited some African countries. And also, 2015, President Xi Jinping also visited Latin American countries. Many developing countries raised the same topic. Can we work together to promote the economic development? So we fully agree on that, and we want to use a connection slogan to combine all the countries together. So review the progress and to build more consensus on concerted development is the #1 purpose of the summit and of the initiative. Secondly, I want to say many people are talking about the atmosphere, especially the economic atmosphere in the world. Globalization or deglobalization. Free trade or fair trade. Protectionism or more openness. So many disputes took place these days. But last year, China convened the G20 summit in Hangzhou. The main theme is that we need to move on the process of globalization. Just as President Xi Jinping announced in Davos Forum last month, we cannot emerge as a winner with protectionism. Nobody should limit itself to a dark room without fresh air. The problem today is not caused by globalization. The reason is war and conflicts. So the picture, the philosophy of China is very clear. We want to strengthen on the globalization, the free trade, and we want to fight against the protectionism. So put more energy on the G20 summit outcomes and extend China's philosophy on globalization is the second reason we want to hold the Beijing summit. And of course, you may ask, you don't have your own idea, your own interest under the initiative of One Belt One Road? I would say yes, China has its own interest in this initiative. Why? You know, China's GDP per capita is $8,000 US. It's only 1/3, I think, of U.S. GDP per capita. So China is on the uphill process. It's very crucial. We are now is like in the pinching. It's a very crucial conjuncture. We need to overcome the difficulties. We need to step onto the second phase of development. So we want to use a new initiative to update our open up and reform. So what's the second phase of China's opening up and reform? We have 5 words: innovation, concerted program, green development, and sharing, and then inclusiveness. So that's quite complicated, but it's very vivid idea of China's thinking. That is China need to change the model of development to a new phase, not only working hard, use the old-fashioned capital or labor-intensive model. We need to make use of innovation. We make to sometimes have a production capacity organization, cooperation. Many economic experts are saying that China is transferring its overproduction capacity to other countries because China produces a lot of steel, aluminum, iron, whatever. So China needs to transfer its overcapacity to other countries. Is that true or not? I would say in some extent it is true. China have too many capacities. But this excessive capacity is not excessive to other countries. Many countries in the Southeast Asian countries need the capacity. Not only in Southeast China, but also Middle East, even in Africa. They need a lot of China's steel, China's technology, China's capital to build their own country. So I would say China has its own domestic interest, but also it is built on a win-win solution. So with the 3 folds of purpose, one is review the progress in past 3 years and push on the outcome of G20 summit in Hangzhou, and also realize our own domestic economic program. We have to move on and work hard on the One Belt, One Road initiative. This picture shows that when we are preparing the summit, how many countries will attend the summit and what kind of country will take part in the program. When we talk about the One Belt, One Road initiative, many people are saying, is your initiative or everybody's initiative? Is your program or program agreed upon by other countries? Yes, it's a very good question. If China only works on its own purpose, that is not welcomed by other people. So consultation is a key word. China needs to get the consultation and agreement with other countries. Otherwise, nobody will not join your program. So consultation is the step 1 of China's initiative on One Belt, One Road. Contribution means that this program is a colossal, giant economic program. China cannot do it by itself. Even China has the biggest foreign currency deposit, but China is not able to do all the things. So we need to work together with all the countries, of course with American companies, your banking system, your private sectors. A lot of people should join the contribution. And shared benefits, yes, shared benefits. If your initiative cannot give benefits to the neighboring countries, who will join? Many people are saying China-Pakistan economic corridor is quite on the way and achieved a lot of achievements. Why? Because it's good. It's conducive to Pakistan's own national development. Although people are arguing that China wants to get access to the sea, China wants to get closer distance between Kunming, Yunnan province to the Indian Ocean. Yes, China has its strategic purpose, but it's also very conducive and helpful to the development of Pakistan and the neighboring countries. So shared benefits is crucial. Without shared benefits, nobody will join the initiative. Yeah, I mentioned the spirits. Yes, the initiative is peaceful, as I mentioned before. And this initiative is open in inclusiveness. Like more than 60 countries and more than 40 organizations are participating in this initiative. And of course, we need a mutual learning because something to China is new. China has little experience in financing, international and regional financing. China's banking system is very weak. We are still in the learning process. Learn from the Western countries. China's banking system and China's biggest Exim Bank and the National Development Bank are doing its old-fashioned program with African countries bilaterally. Yes, we are the experts. But how to organize third parties together and how to do more private banking financing way, it's new to us. So in many, many places, like in Africa, when we are building the water supply system or railway system, we get a lot of helps from European banks and American banks. We learn the expertise from them, since projects are not based on the preferential arrangements. Most of the projects are based on market-based, business-like agreements. So to make profits is the purpose for the bankers and the companies to do so. So I need to mention mutual learning is very important for China and for the relevant countries. For instance, when we are asking, does China consult with other countries? I want to mention several examples. Like China did a consultation with Mongolia on their Step Road program because Mongolia initiated its own national development program. And also, Kazakhstan has its own Road to Brightness that's also focused on infrastructure construction. We need to consult with them. Is there an overlap part between China and Kazakhstan? Kazakhstan wants to build their own natural gas piles, and we need to. We need to make use of their very rich natural gas reserve. So we need to find the common ground. Otherwise, Kazakhstan will not join us. Tajikistan also. So Turkmenistan, strong and happy era. So the neighboring countries have their own individual ideas. And we want to know what your ideas are, and can we find some common ground. Once we find the common ground, then we can make detailed program. Nowadays, China had set up with the neighboring countries, altogether 21 countries, altogether within the during the 3 years, China and the neighboring countries set up 56 economic zones. Some are tax-free zones. Some are just the combination of tourism and economic development. And some are just financing hub. So altogether, 56 economic zones were set up. That's the early harvest during the 3 years. And people are also asking, One Belt, One Road seems like too big, macro, conceptual idea. Do you have very specific or concrete tools to grab, to work on? I would say yes, we do have some concrete things. And those concrete things actually were set up earlier then we make the name One Belt, One Road Initiative. The six corridors are just what we mentioned, the concrete tools. This one, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. This corridor was initiated as early as 2011. 3 years before, we announced the One Belt, One Road initiative. China-Mongolia-Russia Economic Corridor. That's also 1 year before we announced the One Belt, One Road. New Eurasia Land Bridge Economic Corridor. Yes, we call it the land bridge from the China's Lianyungang to Rotterdam to Europe. This corridor had been worked on for many years, more than 10 years. And we also have the Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar Economic Corridor. This corridor is initiated not by Chinese people. Bangladesh experts in the university proposed the initiative 60 years ago, and it was accepted by the neighboring countries, the relevant countries. China agreed on their idea and began to invest money on this initiative. So these 6 corridors took place under different background, but now we bind them together for them to become the pillars, the 6 pillars under the One Belt, One Road initiative. With them, we can work together on very solid foundation, and with the countries they are willing to do with us. When we talk about initiative, which is very conducive to China, many people will think like this way. It's your idea, and it's very good for yourself. You must do a lot of preferential loans, grants to those countries. And many people surely will wait and depend on China's assistance or help to begin with their project. Is that true? I would say most part of the projects are based on the equally and beneficially based. Most of them are based on the market-oriented projects. That means that Chinese entrepreneurs need to make money, and the relevant countries need to make money too. So we have to make use of all kinds of financial and monetary tools. For instance, for initiative of One Belt, One Road, we invited the World Bank, Asia Development Bank, and we also set up a new body, which is Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB. For some time, this is not accepted by Obama administration, but I have no idea what kind of attitude or position the new administration will take. But personally, I think Donald Trump will have a new idea on AIIB because, frankly speaking, it is very conducive to America's economy. And of course, we have our own contribution, like Exim Bank of China, Development Bank of China, and also China's private companies like IZBC or construction company. For instance, when we work together with Egypt to build the grid electricity system, China's Development Bank signed agreement with your government with the altogether $17 billion to do so. That is governmental agreement, but we do have private contracts under the umbrella. Many people are joining this. Even some Western countries' private companies are joining this program. We need to use a lot of private funds, like venture capital. Some venture capital from America too. I know some American companies are doing the projects. In my memory, there is a company, medium to small company, Innovari, whose base is in Austin. They are doing the energy management surveillance project in Africa. And also some Houstonian company like Headwood. Headwood is a wastewater treatment company. This small green company is doing business in Myanmar, in Middle East, with Chinese companies. So actually, private sectors have a great potential to work together on the projects under the big umbrella of One Belt, One Road initiative. Of course, we have different models to do so. Many projects is long-term project, like a subway system in Iran, like a railway system. I don't think they will getting profits within 5 years or 10 years. Maybe it will take 50 years to get money back. So that's quite difficult for a private company to do so. But we have some new idea, like a combination of treatment, BOT. What is BOT? Build it, operate it, and transfer it. We can build a subway in Iran, Tehran, and operate it to get money. And finally, after 20 years or 30 years, we transfer the ownership back to Iran government. So there are several different kind of business style model to do so. The only purpose is that let the investors got the good things. Let the company got their own profits. Only with win-win solution, all the relevant parties will be willing to do so. Does China have challenges? It seems like great, a big picture, a wonderful future, beneficial to everybody. So is it easy? I don't think so. It's difficult, actually. For instance, we do met a lot of difficulties either from domestic companies or province or from countries outside. Let me take an example. When we move on, work hard on the China-Pakistan economic corridor, the Yunnan province or the Guangxi autonomous region waited and listened to the central government. They will say, the central government of China initiated the program. You have your big picture, the national strategy. Our province individually will do our parts. But when will you give us the preferential rates of the loans? And what kind of policy the central government will give us? Let our people to do business with the neighboring countries like Laos, Pakistan. Actually, we have so many preferential rates of loans. We depend on so much on the medium and small business and local government itself. So this problem is a severe problem. We have to do a lot of education to the local government, saying that it is based on your own responsibility. We have national picture. We have a strategy, we have initiative, but most of the work is based on market-oriented economy. So domestic excessive demand on preferential rates financing became the burden of the central government. Besides, we have a lot of political doubts and worries. 3 years passed, we did harvest a lot of concrete fruits, but still we met a lot of difficulty, obstacles, at home and outside. When we are doing the objects in Myanmar, yes, we are doing the renovation of the villages, we are building the reservoir, and we are building the railway in Pakistan, the environmental protectionism, and the Labor Party, human rights organizations, filed quite a lot of lawsuits to relevant government, and they have our own voices. In some cases, relevant countries had to stop the project, which had been on the process with China, like a reservoir in Myanmar. So, political elements, the doubts of China's strategy, and the worries of the so-called China's dominance in this region still do its part. So we have to do a lot of education. We have to do some publicity to tell the people that is based on win-win outcome. That is not only based on China's own interest. That's the biggest challenge. And how to do so? President Xi Jinping mentioned internally in our internal meeting, saying that actually relevant provinces and the relevant either state-owned company or private companies, you need to handle three relations. I just put it on my PowerPoint. One is government and enterprises. That means that this initiative is for the interest of the people. Government need to do government thing. Enterprises need to make money. You have to keep the balance. The second is government and the society. Sometimes when China's entrepreneurs enter the relevant countries, they don't study the culture. They don't study the religious background. They don't study the personal relations in that country. So they got the obstacles, sometimes fairly. So government and society, the relations is very important for the entrepreneurs to learn. Third, China's interest and the partners' interests. I mentioned so much on the previous remarks. China need to tell the people we are doing together for our common interests. Otherwise, nobody will join us. The fourth, opening up and the national security. Yes, it's the overall opening up and updating the reform so quickly. So, does China have some security problem? Yes, we do, especially for the security of the border area. We have Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. Some terrorists came from Afghanistan when we do business with them. So security, economic interests, that's a very subtle balance we need to keep. Fifth, national goal, local goal. As I mentioned, Inner Mongolia had its own interest. For the nation, China wants to make Inner Mongolia as the first stop to connect Mongolia, Russia, and further on Europe countries. But Inner Mongolia autonomous region focused on its own trading relations with Mongolia. They don't want to spend too much money on the projects with Russia and even more European countries. So central government and local government need to talk for different interests. And finally, economic and culture, people-to-people exchange. Just as I mentioned, China do also One Belt, One Road initiative in Egypt. The very important part of the initiative is cultural exchange. So infrastructure is not limited to railway, highway, fiber optics, or water system. There are culture things, because culture, the friendship between peoples, are the foundation of cooperation. We need to do a lot on culture exchange. So altogether, 6 relations are the key to solve the challenge, to meet the challenge, to solve the problems. And finally, I would say, for our companies and organizations and governments in America, especially for southern United States, we want to give you some example how American people can benefit from One Belt, One Road initiative. For companies, it's clear. The company will pursue the profits, we can give the picture and a very detailed project to companies for them to think about what kind of contribution they can do. As I mentioned, if you are wastewater treatment company, yes, we have project in Myanmar. You can come, and it has only very low, like a 2% rate of loan. You can make money of that, and also it will be conducive to the livelihood of Myanmar people in the poor villages. Yes, they will come. And also, when China transfer its technology of high-speed railway system or the just highway, I mean the roads, and also China is good at making the the power station, power plants. We transfer money, we transfer technology, but China cannot transfer all things. We need more advanced things. We have to get that. I would say China always refer them to American countries and Western countries. They enjoy more high-level technology and high-level management. So for those advanced companies, they can find the good things to join in. That's simple. But how to persuade the government to support? That's very difficult. Still, as diplomats, the Consulate General and also our embassy, DC, are working so hard on your government in DC and in relevant cities. I would say, overall atmosphere between China and USA on US-China relations is in a very crucial stage. A month ago, many people are saying, look, after Donald Trump stepped into White House, China will face a very severe new president. That will be crazy people. But nowadays, just 3 days ago, President Xi Jinping and President Donald Trump made a very cordial, lengthy, and fruitful conversation, telephone conversation. And it was surprisingly to listen that Donald Trump said, USA would stick on the one China policy. We could be partner. Wow. Atmosphere just is changing. It's changing to the direction of positive goals. So overall speaking, I would say US-China bilateral relations is on the good track. We positively foresee the direction, the development of bilateral relations. With such kind of perspective and anticipation, we have to work hard on this, your federal government. But that's not all what we have to do. We have to do more on subnational level. What is subnational? We need to do a more lobbying in Austin capital. We need to do a lot in county and to get closer relations with the judges and have good relations with the mayors of different cities, Sugarland, Pearland, whatever. So for this level, for the good relations between China and America, nationally, subnationally, even the village, county level, we need to do a lot. The only purpose is that persuading American people to think, to believe, to trust that China is willing and is looking forward to getting stronger, positive relations with America. Both the government and the private companies can make profits and good things in China's initiative, which is One Belt, One Road initiative. So finally, I want to make a conclusion. Initiative of One Belt, One Road is China's one, but also it's something which belongs to the world. China will work hard on its development, but China also wants to work together with the neighboring countries, with the relevant countries, even with America, to build a win-win outcome in the world economy. Thank you.
We thank you, Dr. Zhao. Very detailed if you didn't know much of the One Road or One Belt, right now I think we've all been learnt on the subject, and I'm thankful to it. Now let's bring up Dr. Ms. Rehan Khalif. Yes, Consul of the Egyptian Consulate in Houston, arrived in Houston March 2016, a career diplomat. She has been with the Egyptian Ministry of Foreign Affairs for 18 years, including posting to the Kingdom of Bahrain and France. She has also served in several ministry departments in Cairo, Arab World Department, Refugee Department, Consular Affairs Department. She holds a BSc in Political Science, Economics, and Economics from the University of Cairo, and a high diploma of French studies from the Sorbonne University, France. Consul Khalif is fluent in French, Arabic, and English, and knows a little Spanish. She is the mother of 2 daughters who accompany her in all of her travels and who is proud to call her citizen of the world. Welcome, and we welcome you to the podium, please.